Okay, let's take a quick look at this game concept. This first screen will display the two basic game modes, playing the game and getting new content. The title will be presented upon the game loading with some categories of objects they can play with, numbers, fruit, colors. Assuming they chose fruit, it would go through the gameplay, which I'll get into in a second, and then come back to the starting screen where they could choose another object set. Assuming that they hit the More button, or the parent hits the More button, they'll be presented with in-app upgrades. There's a lot of thinking about what these in-app upgrades would actually be, but for right now, we'll just assume that there'll be different object sets. We'll get into that at the end as well. So those are the two basic game modes. Let's jump into what happens in this part when you actually play the game in a little more detail. So when the toddler starts to play the game by themselves, a fun sort of narrator character will display an object to them and ask them to name it. Additionally, there'll be this letter for it, A for apple, but the basic gameplay is character showing object and asking the child to name that. Assuming the child correctly names the object, they then have an opportunity to drag that to this sort of sticker board or achievement board, and they also get some points where they can start to sort of have a quiz-like environment. This character would also go through sort of a fun animation cycle, which would encourage them to sort of see it again so they could giggle and have fun with this. Character shows them another object from the set, and they correctly name it, and that is also added to the achievement board, and this sort of continues until they've gone through all of the objects in the set and gotten all the points they're going to get. At that point, they'd return to the screen where they can choose additional objects. Now, let's follow what happens when they incorrectly name an object. At that point, the narrator would give them hints. He would speak hints to them. In this case, it would speak the object that they're trying to name one syllable at a time. Apple. If they, at that point, were to correctly name it after the narrator had hinted, they would go back onto the thread of simply naming more objects. If they were to incorrectly name it after those 3 tries, they would go to a new object. And the logic would follow until they had either successfully named all the objects or went back to try a new set since they were having difficulty with that one. One of the areas that we're seeking a lot of feedback right now is from educational professionals on exactly what these object sets should be. The first few that we're thinking about are animals and shapes, but one of the things we hope we'll hear from you will be other ideas that you think would be great to launch with. Thanks for your time. Talk to you soon.